Um, I am wanting to see. This is the next thing I'll do. Is I'm wanting to see a browser in one window, and in my case, a mobile app written with React Native in another window, and have those two, display the synchronization of data across some kind of connector. I don't know which one yet, but so that's the mode I'm in. To do that, and I loved Fireproof the first time I saw it, like just idea stage, and you know, then to find out that some of the primitives that are in a browser or in Node are not available in React Native was, kind of a blow. So I had to implement some crypto functions that were not in React Native, that were in the Node API. I've done most of those. I haven't done encrypt and decrypt yet, but those are on my radar. But I've basically gotten Fireproof working in a React Native app, and so that's cool. That is up in my branch. There's an example React Native app, and you can see the to-do app kind of doing its thing. What I'll do is I'll sync that with a web, maybe the solid one, or maybe the React web to-do list, and then we'll see, kind of what I wanted to see. So with that done, except for some of the help I need from Chris and Drew, I'm trying it in my original app that I wanted to use this for. Swap it out from a graph database up in the cloud, right? Where that means obviously you have to be connected all the time for it to work. To put Fireproof on the device is great. Now I need to think through and get my data modeling correct. And so that's what I was playing around with last night. So I wonder if I could share just really quickly. I don't know if that's like a fireside. I mean, is this a half-hour thing or what's the deal here?
Do it. Go for it. No, I think we usually call it for hour. Is that right? Please do share. And yeah, we've got another half hour if we want it. I mean, as far as nobody should feel like they have to stay.
Yeah, definitely share.
Okay, you guys see that?
Cool.
You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is a golf application for Marty and Smoji. Basically, this app tracks all of the gambling that we do on the course. There are some complex rules and so on. Those rules are going to sit in this document here inside of this game. You see Drew and Megan and Eric and Chris are the gambling types, degenerates, and they're playing Vegas, whereas Chris and I are just playing a simple match play game. And so I had a chat with Chris a while ago. Basically, this is how to think about data modeling from a Fireproof perspective, and how to get your unit of collaboration to be the database itself. So our idea on that call was to have one game, with players and rounds of golf, and the holes, like you see, these are 18 of these. So there's 18 holes, and the scores you got on each hole, and maybe some other information on the hole, like did you get a birdie or some other things that might be relevant to gambling. All of these circles are documents, and we're trying to kind of, encapsulate a game into one Fireproof database so that then you could sync it up to the cloud. And anybody interested in viewing that game, like say, Chris has this on his device, and Drew, Megan, and Eric are also interested, they could open up their app, or if they're on the course, and basically look and see, what's going on in the game. They could enter a score and take all the scoring burden off of Chris, or so on and so forth. That's what we were thinking. Now, in my current, incantation of the app, where I have a graph database on the cloud, it's very easy for me to share Chris's round for that day between game 1 and game 2. One of the features is that you don't have to be together in a group. Like this foursome is playing, and then I'm right behind them. Maybe a half an hour behind them on the course, but I can still play a match with Chris, and as he scores and as I score, our game fills out its scoring. What I don't want is for Chris to enter the scores twice for his round. He has 18 holes, 18 scores, and I would like to have the benefit of that round factor into the calculations of my game, and obviously his team outing here would like to have those scores calculate into his game. So this is what I was asking on Discord last night is, what does this data model look like when you have two databases, or what we thought was two databases, sharing some data? Now, for the non-golfers in the group, I'm sorry if that was just a lot of gobbledygook, but hopefully that kind of made sense. Any questions on that?
Yeah, this is super interesting. Thanks for sharing. I think that the answer is that this probably points to like a Deus Ex Machina we need that can do some of the like graphy stuff across sync units. I think that you want at least game 1 and game 2 to not be able to see each other, right? Like from like bookies would be kind of like freaked out about if game 2 people could see the bets in game 1.
Sure, absolutely. I don't want my boss seeing that I'm out playing golf, or that I'm betting or irresponsibly or whatever. So there is some of that, but you're in both games, so you're going to be able to see.
Right. Yeah. So the games are like kind of they're a distinct unit, but then also the rounds is like a thing that if you don't care about it, that's just going to churn your device to deal with those events. So
yeah, my idea last night, which you didn't necessarily like, but you were also on your deathbed with the plague, was to put have a game, have a database per game, and then have a database per round. So I might have 1, 2, 3, 4 round databases on my device at one time, or 2 over here, and then they kind of match with the game. But you were kind of, and by the way, I love your original idea.
Problem, right? And I think it comes down to the round. It's mutable, and it's mutable for all the games it's in, and it stays mutable. And
there's a time. Which is kind of done. Nobody's going to change it, 2 days from now.
Right. But I mean, I guess you could audit it. You go back and check the video and be like, ooh.
Yeah, that was a 5 instead of a 4 or something like that. I guess, yeah, it's mutable.
So, I mean, that's fine, though. I'm just trying to think about, like, you don't want to then just be copying it willy-nilly across all the games, because then you have to update it all those places.
That's right.
And if the round is just an event stream, like if the round is a series of like CQRS immutable things, that's easier, but it's still kind of weird to copy it. So these both point back to your solution of that a game is really a pointer of rounds to watch, and then
the game. I mean, there's other things in there, but yeah,
right.
It's probably.
It's also going to have there's going to be some access control. Can you see those rounds so you don't just make up games or whatever, so you can see people's stuff. But then, if you're watching those rounds, and they can be incorporated into the games. And so I think what this points to is both in the cloud and on the device, it would be handy, like, for instance, to do the game app, you're going to want to query across multiple rounds, right? Like on a screen to see, like, I don't know, what the top score for each hole was or something.
Sure. Yep.
And so then we're going to want like a unified index on the device across all the rounds, even though they sync distinctly.
Index, but cross database.
Yeah, like you want the device to be like, sure, you call these 6 databases, but I'm going to index them as one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
If obviously if you're permitted to read them. Okay.
yeah.
So I knew I was going to kind of tinker and play around with this. So um, I have the beginnings of something that will create these databases, and I'll be able to, you know, try Avenue One, Avenue Two, whatever, and see how it goes. If I end up with a patch that has that indexing, obviously I will share it back. I don't like. I guess for the chat here, you know, is this common or is this a feature that I'm kind of hung up on? That I mean, do you see this
I'll just jump in
cross
right now.
database index? Yeah, go ahead.
To me, like this, I'm glad you shared this, and this kind of conversation to me is like so important for these kinds of applications. Just you have to spend so much more time, in my mind, up front thinking about how the data is going to get modeled to fit the multiple databases or the distribution here. Um, and that's like, something I've seen going back to CouchDB days, right? Some similar things come up, and to me, it'd be awesome if we could document some of the thought processes and then the reasons you change direction, right? Like I'm just hearing your conversation. I imagine just like not trying it and coding it, but just the thought experiment stage. You and Chris are saying, well, if we did it this way, then this would work better, but this wouldn't work. And all those things are so many of those things are applicable across applications, right? Like I know enough golf to follow the conversation you described about the gambling, so that worked for me, but it would have been totally alien to someone else. But the core principles there about how you organize these things are I think, going to be transferable from applications if we can get that sort of almost like terminology or language to have those kind of conversations. So it's super interesting. I don't have a solution to your problem, first of all, but just a thought that occurred to me was it felt like there's different ways. You're looking at the very micro level, like the smallest unit of relevant information that needs to go into one database to keep together. And then there's higher levels at which you want to abstract it. Like to me, the round is a little bit of a higher roll up of the holes that you participated in. And then at the end of the day, like I said, you might have been in multiple games. That's another way of rolling it up. I can imagine at the end of a season, a bunch of golfers might want to go back and accumulate who was the season winner. And you could imagine that being another roll up on top of other databases, depending on how you'd organized it. And so I think that's a very common thing as you go, is that even though you do all this up front thinking about it, you need to sort of be able to grow into new ways as your app grows. And that's one of the challenges with this architecture. I'll shut up now.
Yeah.
That's just some immediate feedback I had.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, are y'all ready for? Oh, sorry. I just want to add on Marty's thing real quick. So that's all true. And then in the world of proofs, now if we're going to do all that, we have to maintain the cryptographic integrity and the data provenance as we go through, adding these other layers capability. So like just doing pipes, like data hoses and filter to do one better. But there's this one thing we can do with the Prolly tree data structure that would allow us to have a hierarchical database where you could sync all the holes within a round ID and basically throw like an array of round IDs at the cloud and just sync the rounds that you ask for, and have it be all provable. And so this is all telling me that we should build that. And I got some smarty pants friends who want to build it too. So maybe we'll figure this out.
Yeah, cool. Marty, I definitely want that season long or, lifetime stats, because if Chris is in my wallet big time, I'm going to go back at him and say, hey, you want to play another round? Like,
Exactly.
more than, you know what I mean? Like, because I want to get even or get back at him or whatever. So yeah, there's a ton of that. There's I flashed the website here, but if you're stuck at the office, you can watch some of your boys that are on the course, girls, Megan, and just like you could even send a prop bet to somebody else and say, hey, Chris, we're stuck in the office, but I bet Megan takes Drew to town on this match, cool. And you can bet on the side. So to one of your other points, I thought about using discussions I thought of maybe putting it here so that we can get that data modeling discussion out in the open. I didn't know, I wanted to start on TL Draw and Discord at first. But Chris, do you think this is a good place for it or not? Did I lose you guys?
I don't know if it was you or me, but you cut out for a second.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, you know, is discussion's a good place for this?
Yeah, we could definitely use some more lively in there. But I think Discord stuff tends to get lost, and so especially talking through some of these deeper data.
Yeah, that's where I started. I just wanted to make sure it was the right place to put it into GitHub discussions. Like, is data modeling a thing, or is it more for architecture and build? Well, this is ending up with an architecture change or with something else we're going to build, I guess.
Yeah, I just think of discussions as if you're going to bother to write something up instead of just being all id and blabbing it out, then go ahead and put it in discussions.
Okay. Yep, we'll do.
I'm not great.
That's what I've been banging on.
But I'm working on it. Cool. Thanks, Brad. Let's see. Anybody else? I think that's everybody. We went around. Thanks a ton.
Anything that you can share, Chris, about what's coming up for June?
Maybe. No, not really, because I didn't think about it until just now.
Fair enough.
But,
you've had a lot on your plate right now, and you're sick. But there are these fireside chats happen every month. They're the last Thursday of the month at 6 a.m. PST for us. But typically we're on camera and we come with demos and such. So we are so grateful, Brad, for you sharing. Brad, that was awesome. And we look forward to seeing what y'all have to share next month.
Hello.
Super fun to see
Yeah. Can I share something? I was silent this whole talk because I was writing down the ideas and problems that each one of you had. So I wanted to share two things to Marty. One is he mentioned that he was having difficulty with dealing with the fireproof party-kit connector. So if you can write what difficulties you are facing inside the support, maybe me and Chris can help you. And secondly, there's this thing that you mentioned, Marty, in your introduction, that your ultimate aim is to like achieve a application where there are two browsers and then you write a bunch of things in both of them and they just sync up. I think we have this kind of demo application inside of one of our test files. So if you can see the March, yeah, I think it's March Fireside Chat when I was presenting the AWS connector. You might see the exact demo that you're looking for. And a few things that I wanted to talk with Smoothie as well. I know you have been facing some issues with the AWS connector. And yeah, I haven't seen your recent messages, but I will see them tonight. And from your talk, it looked like you were having a difficulty with understanding why we need connectors to persist the storage. So I was actually having the same question when I joined Fireproof as well. So the thing is, sorry, whenever you add some data, let's consider a browser example only for now. Whenever you add data, the metadata is actually stored inside the local storage and the car transactions are present inside the index DB. So because everything is localized, and as Chris mentioned for Node.js, this would be the local file system. I think even within the same local machine, if you're having two different browsers, you would need a connector per se. So I think that clears your doubt. So yeah, I wanted to mention these things. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Drew. Actually, you reminded me. I got myself set up. Brad, if you end your live, you're still streaming your screen. I'm gonna screen share real quick. I got set up here to just show what I do when I'm let's see, where's my screen share? Oh, come on. It doesn't. Oh, I'm gonna just have to press a couple buttons, but I'll get there. So cool. Here it comes. So I'm gonna share my whole screen, and then y'all are gonna see this. This is my terminal setup. This is how I do it when I want to run all in the box. Um, so if I do
I currently see
here,
Discord.
are you able to see my screen? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I see Discord.
Got your Discord, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have my Discord?
Yep.
That's too bad. You should have my terminal, my VS code. We're gonna do it one more time. All right. So, oh, they'll do this to you. Okay, here we go. All right, here's the whole screen, and here's my VS code. Is that better?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so I just happen to be in the packages fireproof here, and I'm gonna run npm test serve. One thing you gotta run. So this just makes the HTML for this test app available on port 8080. And then I'm over here in the packages connect party kit test app. Sorry, this stuff isn't more. It's not documented because it should probably just be cleaner. But then if I do npm run dev, then that's going to start up on port 1999. And then I have one more server. This is because the party kit blob size maxes out at 1 megabyte. So I have a configuration that uses a local REST server. And when I do that, now I have my server for the car files running on port 8000. So now with all those running, I can go to my localhost app and we can make a fresh DB for version 18. And hopefully this works, but we'll just do a test, create, and now if I do this again, yeah, it's here. And so then I'll just like, more stuff, lots, right? And now we have, all right, so now we have some items and it's live syncing and I can activate the robot. And so now this one's gonna write, periodically. I'll activate the robot over here. It's writing periodically. If I go to Chromium, cancel. How about this one? Canary, yeah. It'll sync right up, and now I've got 3 players all smashing on this server. We'll go back over. Most of the action is going to be here with the car file streaming in and out. And that's how I do my local load testing. Hopefully that's helpful just to see. for folks who are
I think Drew
curious.
mentioned the March presentation as well. So between this and that, I ought to be able to pull something together. And if I have any more questions, I'll bring it to the support channel.
Cool. Well, awesome. Yeah, I know that could be a lot smoother, but that's what I do when I'm on the airplane and I want to run a benchmark.
Thanks, you all. Really great to have everybody here today. And I just wanted to give a massive shout out to Drew for all the work that he's been doing, but more importantly, for having graduated. Yay, Drew. Good job.
Thank you.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited about your visa. It's going to be fun to have you over here. All right. Well, take care, y'all.